Hey, what's going on tonight? We are going to be reviewing right now the Ranger Creek Texas Bourbon Barrel series of their Russian Imperial Stout. I'm pretty excited about this beer, this craft beer, because first of all, it's made in Texas. I mean, I love the Texas brewing scene, and specifically this Ranger Creek is in San Antonio, so it's easily in driving distance of me, 90 minutes drive probably. This one, the experience is sort of interesting. I like to talk about the experience of these craft beers because I'm not necessarily the best at naming all the distinct tastes that someone more skilled or learned could be. But this is not the most attention-getting can, is it? I mean, it's sort of plain. Even the fonts, like, just, I don't know, they're not, to me, they don't really do it for me. The picture of the bourbon barrel, the Texas Bourbon Barrel limited edition, that's really probably what drew me in. Nothing about the design really grabs me. One of the things that makes this can distinctive to me, just a little thing, is that it says 10.64% alcohol by volume. 10.64%. So that extra 0.04% that really makes this beer what it is. Now, they do have some nice tasting notes. It says, enjoy with braised French dip sandwich, bread pudding, bacon, spinach, and gorgonzola pasta. I'll be honest, I don't really eat any of those things except bacon and occasionally spinach. Tasting notes, boozy raisin, toffee, roasted malt, oak, and coffee. Pretty much what I'm expecting. This is not like a flavored stout, not a dessert stout, not a milk stout. This is just a bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout. So I am expecting a lot of taste of booze, of oak, of the typical malt, roasted malt tastes. They also have nice recommended, 55 degrees in the serving glass, along with a few other bits of data, IBU at 75. It's so funny how stouts are like actually incredibly, not incredibly, but they're relatively high bitterness, but usually they don't end up perceiving that way because of the amount of malts that are balancing it all out. So not like an IPA where the IBU, the bitterness will really be more obvious. Is there anything else I want to say? Well, yeah, I never finished my thought. One reason I'm pretty excited about this tonight is this Ranger Creek place is not just a brewery for beer and ale. They also are a whiskey distillery. So they kind of have a unique perspective. I guess they've won some awards, and that's just kind of cool to me. So it's a Texas distillery, Texas brewery, making craft beer, making craft whiskey. Cool. Sounds awesome to me. So I guess that's about all I want to say about this one before I open it up. It does say canned on the beginning of September of this year, and so it's now the middle of November. It's been 10 weeks or so. Not that stouts, many stouts might benefit from cellaring, but this one in this case, only less than 3 months old. So let's crack it open and let's give it a pour. And after I pour it, I'm gonna stop the video real fast to take a couple pictures for my Instagram, which you can find at Craft Christian Reviews on Instagram, and getting a lot of people join up there. And there's a lot of craft beer community on Instagram, so come find me on there and follow me on Instagram. Get another side of this story. But let me open it up. Let's have a pour. Let's see how it looks, how it smells, and then we'll give it a taste. So opening it up right now. Sounds good. Smells... I want to smell it again. Let's get in the glass. I'm going to take a picture and I'll be right back. All right, this is just a moment later. Like I said, go check out the Instagram. Head not so big or so pretty. I mean, honestly, it's not like it's ugly. It's just I've been spoiled by some really beautiful stouts lately with really beautiful kind of coffee-rich head colors. This is not that case. So the experience is so far, I gotta say, I love having that big head of foam, and I'm always looking for it, but that doesn't mean this beer won't taste amazing. Just a little part of the experience I'm always looking forward to. You can smell the bourbon, you can smell the booze. It smells like a raisiny stout, just like they promised. And so the experience right now is I'm excited. I think this is going to be a grown-up stout. In other words, there's not a whole lot of flavors masking the beer and the bourbon itself. And that's what's appealing to me, because 2 months ago I would never have been willing to try something like this. Well, let's go to taste. You know, I have no real basis for saying this, but that does feel like a very Texan drink. It's kind of a little rough around the edges, but not in a bad way. A little aggressive, kind of some I don't know if aggressive's the word. It's still a pretty smooth drinker, actually. It's not like it burns. It's just got this rough around the edges feel, like coffee and smoke, like a cowboy campfire or something. And maybe that's all part of the branding that I've been led into by a Texas whiskey distillery making bourbon barrel-aged stouts, Imperial Stouts. But that's what I talk about on this channel, is the experience I'm having. And this makes me feel like I'm a cowboy or something. I don't know how else to say it. I had a similar experience, even more so, with the Tupps full-grown scallywag, where it just made me feel like a pirate captain drinking that. That is my favorite stout so far. You can watch the review of on my channel of the Tupps Brewery full-grown scallywag stout. Now, this is not on that same level for my opinion, but it's much more. This is a much simpler stout. And that doesn't mean it's not complex. It just means they didn't need to do a whole lot. It sort of is speaking for itself more than something that's got coconut and flavors added to it. So, I should also say, for reference, I let this warm for a few minutes after it came out of my fridge. I think the more stouts I drink, the more I like to let them warm a little bit. But I also have mentioned I like to drink them when they're cold, see how they taste right out of the fridge, and then let that taste develop over time. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to maybe take one more sip now, then let it warm up a little bit, come back and report once it's closer to room temperature. So, final thought for the moment. It's boozy, it's dark, it's caramely. It's good. It's a good stout. It's quite nice. So let me let it warm up for a few minutes, and I will check in and finish this review at that point. So, finishing up my review of the Ranger Creek Bourbon Barrel Russian Imperial Stout. It's been about 25 minutes since I paused the video, and I've been sipping the beer since then. My verdict right now is that this is a grown-up's stout. I have had stouts recently that are higher in ABV, up to 13 or 14%, which are in some ways easier to drink because they're flavored or whatever. What I'm trying to say is not that this is hard to drink. It's actually very easy to drink. Don't get the wrong impression. But it's only easy to drink if you already like stouts. I don't think this is not the right beer to convert anyone who thinks they don't like stouts. I feel like I was right to work my way up to this. If this had been one of the first stouts I had tried on my journey, I think it's hard to say if I would have liked it or not. It's good. It's been very enjoyable to sip. It's just a real. This seems like the stout your dad or your grandpa would drink, and I don't mean that that's a bad thing. It's just it's kind of classic. It's not apologizing. It's a little challenging, like any bourbon-aged stout could be if it hasn't been if the edges haven't been softened or rounded by like other flavors perhaps. And so listen, just take this all with a grain of salt. I don't know what I'm talking about at all. Like, all I'm doing is going off my gut instinct and my feelings, my experience. I'm enjoying this, drinking this. It is not as easy for me to drink as some of the other stouts I've had that are more dessert, more pastry style, maybe more milk, more flavorings, more coffee. But it is good, and it's not hard to drink. And it's something else, and it feels like an adult drink. And that might be a weird thing to say, but it just feels like this is something that kids are not gonna, this is not attractive to young people in any particular way. I'm generalizing so broadly, I feel stupid even saying it. Of course, someone 21 years old, 18 years old, if they're in a different drinking age, could love this. It could be their favorite. But I think I'm on pretty safe ground to say this is a fairly mature alcoholic drink and should be sort of taken in that way. It's definitely complex. It's definitely interesting. And anyway, that's my review of the Ranger Creek Texas Bourbon Barrel Russian Imperial Stout. I am impressed. I think it's definitely good. I can see why this distillery and this brewery is respected, and I like that it's I like that it's unflavored. I like that it's unpretentious. I like that it's just kind of, to me, a rough around the edges, classic, old school, intense Imperial Stout at just over 10% ABV. I will be probably sipping this the rest of the evening, and if you like this kind of content, I'll be making more reviews in the near future, so go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It means a lot to me. If you leave a comment, you tell me about some other stouts you've liked, other Texas breweries you like, if you've ever had anything else by Ranger Creek, I would love to know, including their whiskey. I do like a good whiskey. I like bourbon, I like ale, and I haven't had anything else by Ranger Creek that I know of. So if any of that appeals to you, leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next review video. Thanks for watching.